is lovely. Look how pretty she is. Hey family, it's your girl Q from Cooking with Q, and today we are making a recipe that I am extremely proud of. Let me be perfectly honest. I am doing an entire wedding coming up, and this is probably one of the whole idea of the wedding is Creole. So I am trying to create some Creole recipes, and today we're gonna make a vegan mushroom etouffee, and it's gonna be amazing. So I hope you guys are ready. I'm gonna show you guys our ingredients, and we're gonna get into it. Okay, so for our ingredients, I have some white onion, red onion. Of course, we gotta have brown rice for our bottoms. We've got unbleached white flour. We have bell peppers, garlic. This is a mushroom etouffee, so I am using 3 different kinds of mushrooms. We have our oyster mushrooms, some portobellos, and some regular mushrooms. White onion, celery, of course, vegetable broth. And then for our seasonings, we got a little bit of soy sauce, some smoked paprika. We have a little bit of thyme, a little bit of basil, red pepper, and some white pepper. And then of course, our pepper blend. So to start this recipe off, the most complicated thing about this is trying to make this roux, okay? And to make this roux, it is probably the longest thing that you will ever do in your life, and I cannot stand it, but it is what you have to do. So I'm going to take the unbleached flour, and I'm putting the unbleached flour in a hot pan, and I am going to cook this flour, but you have to watch it. And when I say you have to watch it, you literally have to keep stirring it, because if you do not, the actual flour will burn, and if you burn it, you have to start all over. Now, you are going to stir this around probably for like 15 minutes. And I know that sounds super annoying, and it is, but you have to keep it stirring, because if you let the flour stick in one spot, it will literally burn the flour, and the flour will be no good for this. You'll have burnt, your gravy will be burnt, and it'll just make you upset. So we are probably gonna stir this until it starts getting a little brown. Now you can use a whisk. I'm just gonna use my wooden spoon just because I'm fancy and I don't wanna mess up my, pan by putting a metal whisk in there. But look at that, it will start getting brown, but this you'll probably keep stirring. You'll have a cramp in your arm for as long as you have to stir it. And it doesn't smell that great. I'm just gonna be perfectly honest. When you are cooking flour, it kind of stinks. So don't think anything is wrong, because it's not. But this is like the most work you're gonna do in this recipe, because everything else we're just gonna start dumping in. But we have to do this first because you have to get the best roux possible, okay? So while this is going, I chose to use a couple different mushrooms just because the mushrooms are meaty. So we're going to have some vegan sausages inside of this, but instead of just using vegan sausage, I wanted to use, I mean, it's a mushroom etouffee, so you gotta have like, you gotta think Creole, you gotta think like if we're in Louisiana, how are they cooking this? You gotta make sure that we have all the replacements that we need. And as I'm doing this, you can see the smoke coming off of the flour. You can see the smoke coming off of the flour because it's hot. It's going to get a little tiny bit brown, but I just have to keep going. We don't want any clumps, but we gotta cook it down. You should make a sign and just be like,
1 hour later.
Dude, this is probably the most like tiring thing I've ever done in an entire recipe. Still going.
3 weeks later.
But it starts going from being like the off-white it is, and it starts getting a bit brown. We have to do this because this is how we're gonna get the best roux, okay? Can you roux? Still stirring.
2,000 years later.
This flour is the most needy thing right now. But if you let this burn and you've already stirred it for 10 minutes and you decide to walk away because you're feeling real fancy, you will have to start all the way over from scratch, because your entire dish will literally taste like burnt flour. It will be horrible. It is the most horrible thing. You wanna know how I know? Been there, done that. It's cooking fast now, buddies. See how brown it's getting? Still flour, but it's getting brown. You see that?
How it started, how it's going.
Look at that. Now I'm gonna take this flour and I'm going, whoops. I'm gonna take this flour and I'm gonna put it inside of the blender, because we're gonna blend the flour and our vegetable broth together. I got 2 different vegan sausages. I have one Italian sausage from, one is a Beyond sausage, and then this one is like a tofurkey sausage. So I am going to get these cooked up a little bit. I'm gonna give them a little tiny bit of water. And we'll let that go. While that's going, I'm going to take this is our vegetable broth, and I'm gonna pour our vegetable broth inside here with our flour. And while that is, you see how it got brown? It's still cooking. I'm gonna put that on low and just blend. The garlic, I'm just gonna mince. We could put it in a food processor, but I am going to mince it. So now you can see, you're cooking this. Before I add the broth, I'm gonna cook these onions. I want them to get a little bit transparent. And now, I am going to add this to our veggies. Look at that, it's like the perfect brown. So we're gonna let that get to simmering, let all these get in a whole relationship, and we're gonna start adding the seasonings. So this right here is basil. We're gonna add a fourth, actually I'm gonna be perfectly honest, you can use a fourth, it depends on how spicy you want your stuff to be. This is a fourth teaspoon of our dry basil. Smoked paprika, same thing, half a teaspoon. The smoked paprika give it a very, give it a smoked flavor, so it's different. It's different than just regular paprika. This is our soy sauce. We got a teaspoon of soy sauce. Woo, fresh thyme. This is a whole teaspoon of red pepper, because I like spicy. Not a fourth. And then a little bit of white pepper. And then we're going to get some fresh cracked black pepper in here. So this is gonna be some flavorful sauce. Look at it, it's already ready to get bubbly. So I'm going to keep stirring this because I do not want this to burn. I do not want it to burn. You can let it simmer, but you don't want it to burn. Now, if your sauce gets too thick, you can add more vegetable stock, okay? I am going to slice these at an angle so that they're nice, thick cuts, because nobody wants some sausage, mushroom and sausage etouffee don't have no taste, right? So this, check it out. I want you to see my little slices. Can you see? Nice kind of thick cuts. See it? This is going into the gravy. Boom. Look at that, nice, right? And then I'm going to add our mushrooms. I have oyster mushrooms, I have portobello mushrooms, and I have regular mushrooms. So I'm going to get these sliced. I'm going to slice them very thick because slicing them thick means it's just a hearty meal. This is a hearty, hearty vegan dish. I'm going to stick this in here. Get to stirring it, family. This is a dish you're going to serve over rice. So we got those. Let's get some portobello mushrooms going. That's good. And then my last mushroom, I love these mushrooms so much. This is a oyster mushroom. What do they call it? Chicken of the woods is what the name they like to call it. It's really thick and meaty. So I'm gonna put these in here and I'm gonna let that cook too. Look at that. That, honey, is some good stuff. Honey, that part. We're gonna serve the etouffee on a bed of rice, but instead of like white rice, we're gonna use brown rice because we are, health conscious people over here. So I have some brown rice here, and then I am going to cut some celery. I'm gonna get rid of the ends. Celery just gives it really, really good flavor. So I am going to set this celery in our pan and saute that and then add it to our simmer, okay? Boom. So we're gonna let these cook for like 2.2 seconds and then we'll put them in, let it saute, maybe let it simmer for a little bit more, like maybe 10, 15 minutes, and then you can serve this baby, okay? So the celery is literally sauteed with water and red pepper, and I'm pouring it right into our etouffee. And now I'm gonna stir this around. More flavors, happy flavors, and I'm excited. That's good. Oh, that's good. So now we got our rice. Oh, look at that. You got your mushroom etouffee sitting nice and pretty. You can serve this with like jalapeno cornbread. You can top this with scallions. You can top this with whatever. I'm the queen of using what I got right here, so I'm petty, and I know y'all about to think this is more petty than it is, and it is, but this is kale. And you guys have a vegan sausage and mushroom etouffee. You guys already know, if you decide to make this recipe, tag me in it. Tag your girl in anything social, hashtag cooking with Q, and that's cooking with Q you eat, because that's me. I am super excited about to taste this. Like, this is about to go down. Look at that. And you guys already know, until next time, may your taste buds be forever satisfied. Bye. This is lovely. Look how pretty she is. Rah. Over here, get burnt up. Okay. Ready?
You ready?
Okay. KK about to get you in trouble, Daddy. Okay. So for this, the funniest part, I'm excited because my dad's here, and he is not. Okay. Just keep that. Well, since you were here anyway, you may as well do what you already know you're gonna do. Just click subscribe right here, please. I appreciate you with the love of Christ. You wanna watch the next video? Click that one, okay? I love y'all. Get to boxing this up.